Trigger Witch. I reviewed this game when it first came out and I really liked it. It's probably one of my favorite twin stick shooters to come out recently. It's got a nice, charming Zelda Link to the Past vibe, but with lots of blood, weapons, and upgrades. The newly released PlayStation 5 version touts a 120 FPS mode and adaptive trigger support. So let's find out how this all compares. Alright, so I was pretty excited to jump back into Trigger Witch. When I first played it, I was playing a pre-release version on the Xbox, which had a few bugs, and unfortunately I ended up losing all my progress near the end of the game. I reported the bugs to the developer at the time, and they have long since been patched and fixed. So this was my time to play through and finally finish the game with some added incentive, being that the game would be running at 120 FPS and utilizing the adaptive triggers. So in my first couple of hours with it, I felt a little underwhelmed. My TV said it was in fixed 120 frames mode, but I just wasn't impressed. Until I found the option to enable 120 frames within the games menu. So while I had it enabled on the PlayStation 5, I still had to enable it within the game. And to be fair, this is usually the case with most games. I just somehow missed it at first glance. And boy, oh boy, did that ever make a difference, especially after playing it for a few hours at 60 FPS, to just jump straight into 120 like that. It was buttery smooth. I am very impressed, and it makes me wish that the developer Rainbite would optimize the game for Xbox Series, because at the time of recording this, the Xbox version is only running at 60 frames per second, even on the Series X. Pixel art games from indie developers are some of my favorites, and now I find myself wanting to experience all pixel art games at 120 FPS. I wish I could show you in a YouTube video how smooth this is, but unfortunately I can only upload 60 FPS. I can, however, show you some slowed down clips. Just make sure you're viewing this video at 60 FPS for best results. Screen scrolling and character movements are so fluid, and I found that my reaction times to aiming shots have improved. If this is all I got out of the PlayStation 5 version, I would be very happy. But of course, it doesn't end there. There is adaptive trigger support, and this is completely optional. You can turn it off in the menus if you'd like. So you'll feel some resistance on the right trigger as you pull back, until it finally clicks and lets loose, firing a shot from whichever gun you've equipped. Unless you don't have any bullets in the chamber, then the trigger will loosen up. For automatic guns, you can just hold the trigger and you'll feel it kick with each shot fired. But the effect felt is the same between all types of guns. It would have been interesting to have a different trigger feel for each gun, especially with something like the Fire Lance, which probably shouldn't kick when it's fired. There's also an interesting little bit of clicky resistance felt in the left trigger, which is used to perform a dash move. I like the feel of this, but my only complaint is that you can feel that resistance even when you're out of stamina. I think they should have made the trigger feel loose in this case, just like the guns when they're out of ammo. It kind of breaks the immersion when I feel that resistance and that click, but I don't actually perform the dash. In addition to the adaptive triggers, the game also utilizes vibration feedback, but it's not to the same precision or degree used in games like Astro or Ratchet & Clank. It would have been really cool if they had used that same level of haptic feedback where you can feel some of the less common surface types in the controller, like for instance when sliding on ice to give it that sort of feel and sound. Unfortunately, that's not the case. Most of the vibration feedback feels more like the standard rumble from a DualShock controller. So I'm thinking this was probably just carried over from the PlayStation 4 version. There are a few sounds played through the controller too. For example, the last few shots fired from your gun will also play through the controller speaker, and they'll get louder as you get closer to that final bullet in the chamber. This makes for a great way to let you know that you need to reload soon, without having to take your eyes off your enemy target. Overall, I do believe this PlayStation 5 version is currently the best version of Trigger Witch. However, if you want the added ability to take your game wherever you go, on a boat, in an elevator, etc., you'll still need the Switch version to accomplish that. Now, there are 2 physical PlayStation 5 releases of the game available from PlayAsia, a standard edition for $30 and a limited edition including a soundtrack and numbered certificate limited to 2,000 copies for only $5 more. Then there is the digital version for only $15, and with that version, you're actually getting both the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 versions of the game, which have separate trophy stacks. So you can get up to 2 platinum trophies. So for me personally, I have the digital version, and I do plan to play through the PlayStation 4 version at some point, but I'm gonna do it through remote play on my PlayStation Vita. It really makes me wish that Sony would come out with a new handheld. Imagine if it were cross-buy with a new Vita too. Then we could take it on a boat, in an elevator, etc. Come on, Sony, think about it. Anyway, that's gonna do it for today. Thanks for watching, guys. Until next time, I will see you later.